Hello and welcome to episode 112 of Third and Wrong. I'm your co-host Stephen Bullen, and I'm joined as always by Austin Dowlonga. We're fired up to be joined by Chris Ackie, fourth overall selection in the 2015 CFL Draft out of Wilfrid Laurier, former Red, Black, and Argo, and current Montreal Alouette linebacker. Chris, thank you so much for joining us, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, fellas. Appreciate you guys having me on here. Excited to get started.
Yes, sir. So typically, Chris, we start our interviews asking about the journey our guests have taken to get to where they are now. But I want to kind of switch discussion more in recent times. And since 2018, you've been in Ottawa, Montreal, and you signed with Toronto during the season that never was. Can you describe what that process is like? You know, being on a couple different teams and acclimating to those different cultures, and maybe speak on the thought process behind the 1 year deal as opposed to signing a multi-year deal.
Yeah, no, definitely. See, I really don't even consider myself playing for other teams just because it's always such a short stint. Like the situation in Montreal where I went to Ottawa pretty much for it's kind of like a rentals trade. So I remember I actually just bought a house and I was moving in back in Ontario because we're on a bye week in Montreal. So I was moving my stuff and I got a call from the GM at the time, Cavis. So he gave me a call and then he started off. He's like, I love you, right? And I was like, what is this? Like, what do you gotta say to me? Right? So then he's like, just because we weren't doing too well, and I was having a really good season. I think the team might have had like 4 wins at the time. There was 3 games left in the season. We weren't making playoffs, so he said the trade deadline's today. I have a few teams asking for you. And he's like, because they traded for Johnny Manziel, so they didn't have any like first, second round draft picks anymore. So then he asked me, he's like, you know what? At the time I had a lot of NFL teams contacting my agent and the organization, and I was going into free agency that year as well. So then he didn't know if he was going to get me back. So he said, we said all that stuff. I don't know if I'm going to get you back, but if you're in free agency the following year, I'm going to make sure I get you. So he's like, where do you want to go with the trade deadline? He's like, I got 5 teams to ask for you. So I was just like, you know what? Who's giving me the best deal? He's like, Ottawa. I was like, all right, send me to Ottawa. And then honestly, it was a perfect fit just because Ottawa was in first place. At that point in my career, I've never made playoffs. So I went to Ottawa. It's pretty much like a rental trade. Went to Ottawa. We played 3 regular season games. And then we went to playoffs. We were fortunate to go to the Grey Cup. Unfortunately, we lost, but it was still a good experience just to go through that the whole playoff. So it was nice. So that's what happened to train in Ottawa. So honestly, Ottawa was a great facility, great coaches over there. It was one of those things where I just knew eventually I'd want to be back in Montreal if the NFL didn't work out. So that's what kind of took me back to Montreal in 2019. And I guess from there, yeah, this is stuff people don't really know because they just see the trade. They don't really know what happened behind the scenes. So, and then 2019 season happened. We had a good season in Montreal. We made playoffs for the first time in years over there. In years. So then for 2020, I remember I thought I kind of wanted to come try something new. Like I know we're getting it's gonna be a whole new staff in Montreal. Toronto was showing me a lot of love. I'm from out here, so I was like, you know what? Maybe if I come back to Toronto for a year, at least play it out and see how I like it. And then if I don't, I can leave. That's why I only signed 1 year. I typically only sign 1 year just because there's no guaranteed contract in the CFL. So you can sign a 3-year deal, and then you be, hey, I'm gonna get all this money in 3 years, but it pretty much goes by year because they can cut you after year 1 on a 3-year deal. You don't see that year 2 and 3 money anymore.
Right.
So it's typically like that's why if you sign a multi-year deal, it's great for the fans because they know, hey, this person's gonna most likely be around here, not gonna leave. I can buy a jersey, but it's not really great for the player because you don't get any guaranteed money, and the only thing that it benefits the team because they have your rights for the next 2-3 years, depending how long you sign. So that's why I typically only sign 1 year. Unless I know I'm in a comfortable place, comfortable situation, and I can see myself there long term, then I'll sign a multi-year. But other than that, I'm just gonna sign 1 year.
And that's been a big sticking point for a lot of CFL fans. It's like, I can't go buy a jersey because, players are always coming and going. But from your perspective, it makes total sense, right? You're not going to lock yourself into a situation if, it seems like a no-win. They own your playing rights, but they can cut you without paying you a dime. And we've seen that with cuts like Deron Carter years ago, and it happens every year. I think Ricky Collins Jr. just happened to, he was due 30,000 and then they cut him right before. So I definitely understand that. So for you to sign a multi-year deal, then would guaranteed money, that'd be like the biggest contention point of saying like, hey, once that's promised, then that's something we could work out.
Yeah, definitely. I feel for the fans when they have to buy jerseys that show no name on it, no name, no number, and it kind of just it doesn't look that good at all. So I don't know, I feel for them that way. But if we had guaranteed some type of guarantee in our contract, say we signed a 3-year deal that might guarantee a 50% of your contract, regardless of what happens, you get cut. Then that I from there I know a lot of players will sign multi-year deals just because it would be more advantageous for them. Now with no guarantee money, it really doesn't. It's not in our favor as players to even sign a long-term deal.
Yeah, that's pretty valuable insights, and it would definitely behoove the CFL to get you guys some guaranteed money. Obviously, as after a year without playing, they're obviously hurting as well. But I wanted to jump back a little bit, Chris, because you had touched on Johnny Manziel. I was going to ask this later, but I think we should ask it now. This is too good. So you're talking about how they traded away all their draft picks for Johnny Manziel. And as an Alouettes fan, I was super stoked for the Johnny Manziel era, which was brought in with not the greatest start. Can you take us into the locker room during that era and kind of explain what your perspective was from that?
Yeah, Johnny Era was short-lived, but no, Johnny's a great guy. Like I feel like he's misunderstood. He's been in the limelight his whole life. They see him as this like money Manziel, and I feel people look at him wrong. But if you really get to sit down and chat with him, he's no different than you and I. Like he's a regular person. Like he likes to have fun, obviously, but he's honestly just a regular guy. So I feel for him that way. He gets a bad rap in the media. But I think with Johnny, he kind of got humbled by the CFL just because a lot of Americans come in, especially if they're high-profile guys that play in the NFL or NCAA guys. They come in and be like, "Hey, I'm just gonna do my stint here and go back to the NFL." And they realize, like, no, there's a lot of dogs here in CFL who can play. There's a lot of guys who been in the NFL for years. Now they're here. There's a lot of quality guys who could easily be in the NFL, but it's all just based off kind of like time and place. So I think that's when he got humbled that way. But I don't have anything negative to say about him. Like he was a good guy. He was a good teammate when he was around. Like obviously he had his issues. But no, overall, like he was a good person to be around.
You were a part of the Grey Cup team in 2018, and so was there any stark contrast in terms of the locker room culture at all from going from a team where it was 4 wins or so to obviously a Grey Cup contender?
I feel like it was different for me when I was there, just because I came in when there was 3 games left in the regular season. So that means that team has already been together since May in training camp. So picture like a new kid coming into school in June just for exams, and it's you don't really know anyone. Everyone's nice to you, but you don't really know anyone. So it was lacking that family feel for me. Whereas in Montreal, hey, we only had 4 games at the time, but that was already a great locker room. Like you had great leaders in that locker room. It was just a great team environment. It went more from we weren't just like co-workers showing up. We were friends. We were family. So that was kind of lacking for me when I went to Ottawa. It wasn't the same because I remember in Montreal, practice be done, say 1:30, 1:45. We would stay. We'd always stay late. DBs, linebackers, we're together. We're watching film. We're joking around. Offense in the room beside us. Receivers, quarterbacks, they're in there watching film. We're here like helping each other out, coaching each other. It wasn't that in Ottawa. It was like, hey, 1:30 hit, grab your lunch, eat it. Everyone's gone. Everyone's out of the stadium by 2:00. There was no one stayed later to watch film. There wasn't even rooms to watch film. So it was a different feel. It was more like I felt like I was just coming to work and then leaving. That's it.
Wow.
But
And so,
maybe, sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, maybe they were a little tighter, but just for me, I got there so late, and it's like when I'm coming in there to take someone's spot too. So it's like they're gonna be nice to me, but it's not. I don't know if they're gonna welcome me into something they've been building all year because they're in first place.
right,
You know, they didn't really need me. I'll just add a bonus to them.
right.
Right.
And you touched on locker room culture, Chris. And so can you were mentioned that memorable 2019 rebound season with the Montreal Alouettes. And, we saw marquee comeback victories over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the Calgary Stampeders, the latter of which Ozzy and I had the privilege of being at. Can you take us into that locker room culture and the culture Kahari Jones built there and what it means to continue, building that now 2 years later, provided we're able to get back on the field by the summertime?
Yeah, honestly, that was probably the best locker room I've been part of my whole career playing football. Professionally, amateur, like that was probably the best locker room I've been a part of because there were guys that it was like your brothers were in there. Everyone's like, we'll work hard, and try to get the best out of everyone. In practice, offense, defense, we'll be going at it. After practice, we giving each other hugs, like we laughing, we joking about everything. But when we're in practice, it's a real competitive period. So we got kind of like push each other to get the best out of each other. We had some great leaders there too, guys like Vernon Adams, Enoch Mwamba, Gino Lewis. We had Stanback. We had guys who were like good leaders to be around. Even Christian Matt, like on the old line, like guys who were good leaders. So everyone kind of bought in, and we kind of just changed the culture around in Montreal. And Montreal was a powerhouse years ago when Anthony Calvillo was there, SJ Green. So then it kind of shifted when those guys left. So we kind of rebuilt it, and yeah, we just did a great job in 2019. Like I said earlier, it's my favorite locker room to be part of.
That's amazing to hear that.
That gets me so fired up because a lot of those guys are coming back. And so you guys get to build on that 2 years later.
Yeah,
and
you see what VA is doing. VA is flying the guys out to Seattle, having a little mini camp. Like that's what you look for in a leader on his own dime. He's spending money to bring those guys out there just to make sure the offense is clicking once training camp starts. So that's something you got to respect him for that.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah.
Just building on that, Chris, really quick. So I was looking at your kind of draft intro tape when you were drafted in 2015, and you're actually drafted as a defensive back. Based on the different teams you've been on and the different coordinators you played for, you've obviously transitioned to that linebacker that can still drop into coverage and make plays there. How much do you see yourself being a versatile weapon in the defense, shifting to defensive back, or are you kind of more the box linebacker now and you prefer to stay there to make plays?
No, I'm not. I've always been that guy who was a DB who should have been playing linebacker. But I'm glad in university. Because I played DB in university and I had a coach. He's actually the coach of Calgary Stampeders now. I had a DB coach over there, Dwayne Cameron. Like I just learned a lot of coverage skills that most linebackers don't have. So it makes me just more versatile in defense. I can cover the W receiver. I can go high as a safety. I can drop anywhere. You know what I mean? So that's a skill set a lot of linebackers don't develop because they're traditional in the box linebackers. Where I'm like, I've always been a coverage person first. Now I'm learning the box. So honestly, I thank my coaches in university for that. Knowing like, hey, I could have played linebacker, but they developed me as a DB, and I'm thankful now because I consider myself one of the best coverage linebackers in the CFL.
There you go, man. You can just classify yourself as a defensive weapon now instead of putting yourself in a box.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, we got it. Once we make it big time, hopefully not too far. Hopefully while you're still playing, I'll reach out to my guy, Bill Belichick, and get you on the Patriots. Big Patriots fan. So
did you work out?
Yeah. Versatility is anytime somebody says versatile, I'm like, that's a Patriot.
Patriot burn.
And the rumor is that Dante Hightower might be retiring this year, so we need another linebacker. So you'd fit in great. Unless you want to stay in Montreal, in which case it's a win-win for me.
I love playing in Canada, man. I really love playing in Canada. I feel the CFL schedule is really relaxed. Like I got friends in the NFL that tell me they're going from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And it's like, damn, I go 7 a.m. to about 4, and then I get the rest of my day to relax. So then we get 6 months off, so I really can't complain. I like the CFL schedule.
Fair enough.
Yes, sir.
About money, though, so that's always, you can sway me that way.
Awesome. So we touched on the 2019 locker room. It obviously ended to the Eskimos in the crossover, or the crossover Eskimos football team. Sorry. Oh man. All right, that's gonna get me fired on this podcast, man. So anyways, so obviously a lot's changed since that game, but what in your mind, Chris, is it going to take that next step to become a true Grey Cup contender in 21?
We're just coming together as a team as quick as we can get that cohesiveness as a locker room. I think that'll take us really far. Because I know if you look at the roster talent-wise, we're definitely up there. It's just how quickly can we get together, especially guys who've been off football since November 2019, haven't played a game. That's what I almost say. That's a year and a half now. So it's going to be like, how quickly can we get back in football shape and be able to just buy in and be ready to grind? I know guys are hungry. Guys have been training for over a year now, just ready to get back at it. So I just hope that we can just kind of come together and just be ready to compete from day one.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it because I think, like you said, with VA getting the guys down on offense, I mean, you guys are kind of bound by restrictions in Ontario, but is there any underground defensive meetings that are happening right now?
No underground defense meetings right now. Yeah, we all talk, bro. Like when it's time to kind of switch the gear and get into football mode, once you get that confirmed CFL start, I know guys will be locked in.
That's awesome. Chris, let's rewind a bit. We alluded to it at the start of the episode, but we really wanted to hear about your journey to the CFL, having Canadian roots. Take us through to the grassroots level. What got you started in football? Was there a particular person in your life that encouraged you to play, and kind of walk us through your journey to Wilfrid Laurier and eventually the CFL?
Right. So what it was, I have an older brother, and he played football. And as a younger brother, you want to do whatever your older brother does. So I remember I was 9 at the time. He was 12. So he was playing football. And then I was like begging my parents, hey, can I play? Can I play? And my parents were like, no, you're too little. We don't want you to get hurt. Let's see if your older brother gets hurt first. And if he does well and doesn't get hurt, you can play. So my brother went out there, killed it his first year, got rookie of the year. So the following year when I was 10, I was allowed to play. Then since then, it's just been every year, just been going at it, sometimes twice a year, different football leagues. So I kind of just fell in love with it early. And it was honestly due to my brother playing. If my brother didn't want to play football, I don't know if I would have played as early. Maybe I would have played in high school because I was just a competitor and wanted to do every sport possible. But yeah, I kind of owe it to my brother for why I kind of got started playing football.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then you're in high school, then when did you start getting college looks? Is that kind of in grade 11, grade 12?
Actually, grade 9.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I got my first in grade 9 because when I played for the Cambridge Lions after. That's like our city football team. And then I played on a team where there was grade 10s and grade 11s. So we had these university scouts came to the game, and I was playing really well. They thought I was in grade 11. So then they came to me and then, hey, gave me their card and all that stuff. And then they're talking to me. I'm like, yeah, I'm only 14. Yeah, 14, 15 at the time. They're kind of shocked. They're like, oh, okay, well, definitely let's keep in touch. And then, so that's how the recruiting started. And from only maybe a couple schools when I was in grade 9, then after grade 10, a couple more, grade 11, the grade 12, that's when I started getting a lot more. And then people were coming in to see me play and everything. So it was a nice feeling to get recruited. Especially, I didn't even have a highlight tape, so it's kind of word of mouth, like if you're gonna come see me. So honestly, word of mouth, I'd have teams flying from different places in Canada just to come see me play. So it was always nice.
That's amazing. So
Jinx.
sorry, Jinx, yeah. You transitioned to the college level. What was that step like getting from high school to the college level? Did you notice like, holy crap, this game's way faster, or the guys are bigger and stronger, or were you well prepared physically and mentally to make that transition?
You do notice the game is 100% faster. Every level you go to, the game's faster. So game's faster, and guys are way stronger, way bigger. Like because you come into it. I remember in high school, I played running back, and I think grade 12, I might have been 185, maybe 190. So then, and my old lineman, I think my biggest old lineman was 220.
Mm.
Not old linemen who were 160 pounds, old linemen that were 170, 180. So it was like, as a running back, I kind of weighed roughly the same as my old line. Like I wouldn't be the smallest old lineman. But then I come to Laurier, every old lineman's probably 6'2", 6'3", sometimes 6'4", 6'5", anywhere from minimum like 270 pounds plus. So you go from guys who were as big as 220 in high school to guys who were some real, like, just large individuals. So I guess that was a big adjustment. But for me, like, I love to hit. So I always kind of have my nose in there just trying to make plays.
Awesome. And sorry, lastly, when you're in university and you're starting to get looked at for the CFL draft, take us through draft day. You're probably projected to go, Canadian draft's a little more unpredictable as far as where players will go. We even saw that in 2021 draft here. So, take us through that process of like where you're expecting to be selected in the 2015 draft, and, what that feeling was like when you heard your name called fourth overall.
Yeah, so I didn't know I was going to go fourth. I had a feeling I was going to go first round because I think the day of or the day before, I got a call from Saskatchewan and Edmonton. So I think Edmonton had the 7th pick and Saskatchewan had the 6th pick.
Mm.
So I'm like, you know what? They called me and they said, hey, if you're still around at 6, if you're still around at 7, we're going to take you. So I'm like, okay, let me just sit back and wait. And then I get a call on my phone, but I missed the call.
Oh.
Yeah, so then I was like, okay, I missed the call. And then I just hear my name get called, and then we had a big party at the school restaurant. It's called Wilf's. So all my family and friends were there. Other people getting drafted too, like one of my good friends, S.A. Robbery, Dylan Campbell, they were all there getting drafted. So the big draft parties were there, their family and friends. We just had all like different people we went to school with there. So there's a lot of people in there. Then just kind of just heard my name, and it was just like, finally, you know what I mean? Like, just because you've been working so hard, you've had this goal your entire life. Like I had this goal since I was 10 years old. I said I want to play professional football. So then it was just one of those things, finally hear your name called, and it's like your dreams finally come true. So it's honestly a great moment. I got to celebrate all my friends and family. So honestly, one of those memories that I'll never forget, draft day.
Man, that's awesome. And the best team to draft you too. So that was fantastic. I just wanted to dial back just a touch. So you said you played running back in high school. Did you also play defense as well, or did you just make that switch because you wanted to be hitting people?
No, so in high school, like, you're gonna play both ways, pretty much. So I played running back, but I never practiced with the defense. But I played on defense. One of the things, like I always play defense, I never practiced with them. But for city football, I played primarily defense. So I remember when I came into Laurier, they asked me, because they saw me play offense in high school and saw me play defense in city football. So they asked me, hey, do you want to come in as a receiver, or do you want to come in as safety? So I kind of asked them, like, where do you need help more? They're like, on the defensive side. So that's how it went. So who knows, maybe if I would have said receiver, it would be a different story.
Man,
that's incredible.
Yeah. So obviously you've never known. But now I look at it now, it's like my hands aren't even the greatest. But also I don't practice this. Right? I'd have like some sticky hands like some of my receivers. Like one of my good friends, Calvin, he has some like sticky hands as a receiver. So I don't know. I'm glad I made the switch to defense. Like, kind of just suited my game.
Yeah, that sounds like Steve. They called him Brick Hands Bolin in high school.
Oh, that's not true. Come on, man.
Totally just kidding.
No, I did hear Steve Bolin use 2 hands when catching the ball, because I tried to use 1 hand in high school. So that's any advice I can give. It's try to catch the ball with 2 hands. it's preferred by your coaches.
That's what the kids need to hear. They see
Yeah.
much Odell just doing the one hand, so that's what they think life's about. Man.
Odell probably set back receiver coaches about 5 years with that one-handed catch he made, because the receiver coaches had to re-ingrain using two hands to catch the football again after that.
Everyone wants a highlight catch.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
And it's kind of interesting that you got that. So I imagine they placed you at safety at Laurier when you first got there. Then is that correct? And then so you got a little bit of experience at safety, and then did you play a little bit of corner as well, or was it just safety and linebacker?
No, so I did safety my first 2 years, and then in my third year I moved to boundary half. Yeah, third year I moved to boundary half. Yeah.
Oh wow! So yeah, you've got all that experience in the backfield. So like you said earlier, it kind of adds to that coverage ability. And now
boundary half is honestly that's a money spot in the defense. In the DB in the secondary, I think boundary half is a money spot, because in the boundary things happen quick. Because now I play well, so I'm on the boundary side. Things happen really quick. So the boundary half, you covering the best receiver all game.
That's where you got to put your best DB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in Montreal, we have Greg Reed, and he's a dog out there. So
yeah, and they brought him back too, didn't they?
Yeah, they got to bring him back.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Friggin' rights. All right, so now our CFL listeners, our fans, our CFL fan listeners know you from your play on the field, but what are some hobbies or a hobby or an interest that you've taken off the field that fans should know about Chris Ackie?
Hobby and interest. So I always love bowling. If people don't know, honestly, I love bowling. I'm a really good bowler. And Call of Duty. Like I feel during the pandemic, this Call of Duty has been just a way to just catch up with the guys and just be out there. It's like you're hanging out, right? You're on the headset, you're talking, but you're doing something. So you can spend a couple hours doing that.
Oh man.
Couple follow-up questions. 5 or 10 pin bowling?
10. Come on. 5?
10? Okay. Yeah, 5. You might as well just like.
That's what you do. That's cool.
And then best Call of Duty game in your opinion?
Oh, best Call of Duty game? Ah, man. I guess Black Ops, right?
Anything but Modern Warfare 2 is wrong, so.
Oh.
Honestly, now it's just strictly Warzone. Like, I don't know, last time I even clicked multiplayer, it's just straight Warzone.
Yeah, that's where it's at now. I've had a couple friends try to get me on the Warzone grind, and I tried it a couple times and I'm just trashed. So, but if you challenge me to a 1v1 on Modern Warfare 2, I'll accept that, Chris.
That's your go-to? All right.
We'll stream that.
Yeah.
Chris, a very vital question here that we ask on the amateur agency on Third and Wrong. One that we've gotten very mixed reviews and answers back to, but Chris Ackie, do you put ketchup on your craft dinner?
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yes. Okay. There we go. I love that. I love that.
Everyday thing, you know. First of all, I don't eat craft dinner as much as I did in university, but if I do, yeah, ketchup depends how I feel, but ketchup is allowed on.
Okay, so it's a mood thing. It's not your go-to every time, but you'll put it on there on occasion.
But like, I like ketchup.
Okay.
There we go.
That's
a
encouraging.
win. Yeah, we had Peter Nicastro on last week, and he was a hard no. So.
Oh, really?
That was one of the harshest rejections we've ever faced, like in my life. That he just said he couldn't even bear the thought of it. So that was pretty disappointing.
His buds aren't developed yet, so the ketchup crap.
Yeah, it's definitely a mood thing though. Sometimes you just enjoy you gotta enjoy the cheese.
Yeah, sometimes you just want to put some ketchup on.
Fantastic. Well, now not only are you our first Alouette player on the podcast, but you're my new favorite Alouette player because of that answer. So there you go. Take that for what you will. I'm sure you're going to go to bed tonight like, yes, I won Austin over.
I'm on here. here for. That's
Oh man. All right. So switching gears, the last question, Chris. What is the greatest lesson that football's taught you? We all know there's tons of lessons, but what is the greatest?
greatest lesson. I'd say it's two things actually. I'd say just consistency, because you got a consistent effort pretty much. Like you got to go in there and train. Because people just see game day, they don't see what happens behind the scenes. So there's so much work that goes into like lifting in the off season, watching film, just preparing for a game. So I'd say like just being consistent with all that stuff has really kind of gave me a lot of structure in my life. Football's done that. And I'd say also kind of just like relationship building. Like every year you get a new team. Sometimes some of the core guys will be around, but every year you get a new team. The teams are always trying to get better. So just kind of building new relationships with people and kind of just building like lifelong friendships just from everyone. And I've been playing football for years, right? So continuously meeting new people and just building different relationships. So I said that's what kind of football's taught me.
I love what you said there, because that's the thing too. And people come from all different kinds of backgrounds, and no matter what, the one core thing is that you're both on the same team you're all on the same team trying to make the team better. And you have to have a good relationship in order to do that. Right. So that's definitely so invaluable of a lesson that's taught to everybody who plays.
Yes, sir. Chris, well, thank you, my friend, for coming on. And, we're hoping the next time we have you on, it's to recap a big game or, maybe even hoisting the Grey Cup trophy at the end of 2021 here in the chilly Hamilton winter in December. But we're just hoping to see some CFL football, man. And I know you are too. Where can everyone find you on social media to kind of keep tabs and keep up with your journey in the Canadian Football League?
Yeah, they can find me on Instagram, Chris Ackie 21, Facebook, Twitter, Chris_Ackie. Like, if anyone ever has any questions about anything, just reach out to me. I'm always down to chat football with anyone. So definitely reach out.
That's awesome. Chris, thank you for joining us, man. We'll link all that down in the show notes, and definitely everyone be sure to reach out to Chris and chat some football and hopefully limit the trash talk. Chris is a great guest here. I'm a Riders fan. We can keep things civil, but we love it.
Appreciate you guys.
Awesome, man. All the best, Chris. Thanks for coming on. Godspeed.